episode is brought to you by our sponsor, the Sutton Coldfield Chamber of Commerce, who help businesses connect, support and grow. Sutton Coldfield and wider Greater Birmingham support businesses of all sizes and have continued to do so during the pandemic. And there are many ways to use the Chamber to help your business come out of lockdown as the roadmap continues. So welcome to our podcast, A Funny Thing Called Business. We are 4 business owners with over 30 years collective experience under our belts. We share the capers and triumphs of running a small business and how we now avoid perilous customer chaos and pitfalls. So welcome everybody. I am Clare Whalley. We also have
Darren Langley,
Kate Curry,
Pete Morgan.
Beautiful. Welcome, guys. So this morning we are talking about LinkedIn lunacy. So I know that we're all having some really great results from LinkedIn, but there are also some crazy things happening on LinkedIn today. So let's dive straight in and share our experiences with the LinkedIn platform. So let's start by sharing your best experience that is happening for you right now with regards to LinkedIn. Pete, why don't you kick us off?
One of the things, I think my favorite thing about LinkedIn, particularly over the past 12 months, is the number of people that are now part of my network that I feel I've got a really good relationship with, and we message each other and comment on each other's posts and stuff, but I've never ever met them. And you know, some of them are based where I am in the West Midlands. There's some in the East Midlands, but there's some in London, and that's the thing I really like. I think that's a real plus side, and kind of the international thing as well, because there's been, you know, there's quite a few kind of Americans that I'm chatting to and kind of, you know, like you say, just commenting on stuff, and it's nice. It's good to have that connectivity.
Yeah, you know. I love that, Pete. That's my experience as well. You know, there's lots of really genuine business connections taking place. And, you know, it's a good place to start with the connections that you already have and, you know, just expand it from that good, positive start. And the other thing for me is as well, there's lots of positive stories on there. Lots more than there used to be. It seems to have chilled out quite a lot, which is good. Like years ago, when lots of business owners talk to me, you know, oh, it's stiff and, you know, it's really formal. It's not anymore. It's a lot more relaxed, and good, genuine connections are taking place. So yeah, it's a great platform. Kate, what about you?
Oh, I really agree with what you just said there. So I think it's changed a lot, and I don't know if that is because of the pandemic, and now we're much more aware of and sympathetic towards people's real lives, as well as them as a business or a business associate. And I'm finding that there's more authentic stories on there now, and you don't get people grumbling like pictures of your roast dinner for Facebook. You know, it's people want to know who you are, don't they? And 2 examples of that. So 2 of the posts, I put quite a lot of content out on LinkedIn because it's one of my favourite platforms. Quite a lot of it's quite strategic stuff, you know, putting a lot of, you know, sharing expertise and that kind of thing. But the things that seem to get the most engagement are just real life, authentic stories. And the 2 that got the most engagement is one of them I was sharing just my startup story recently and the reason I went into business. And I got loads of engagement and lots of chit chat going. It was really, really great. And the other one was the height of the pandemic. I took my dog for a walk in the park and took a photo and just thought, oh, one of the perks of this is actually being able to nip out and do a dog walk. And that went ballistic. I'm like, who'd have thought you could put your dog picture on LinkedIn now and actually have that as a, you know, a really successful post that's engaging with my network on there. So
absolutely, probably 2 years ago you would have been shot down.
I would have, like, get off.
But now it's good. We want to hear those stories.
I've had that. I've had people when I posted something about our dogs and someone said, "Oh, really? Posting photos of your dogs? Oh, I'm very, very sorry. Excuse me." But when I look back on their feed, they'd done a post about their new dining table. And it was like, so where's the difference? Neither of these were linked into kind of business related things. So, you know, zip it. I'll post about dogs.
I'd rather be a dog than a dining table.
Exactly.
And so, you know, perhaps these are people that you are not going to do business with. You know, that's the thing with socials. We are not here to take advice, listen to everybody. You know, it's about trusting yourself first and foremost, isn't it? Darren, what's your experience on LinkedIn?
Well, the opposite of Pete. Whenever anyone from outside of the local neighbourhood tries to connect with me, I you know, ignore them. But keep it local. And I mean, I remember back in the day, before I found out that you could use LinkedIn anonymously, and you know, knowing that you get that little "who's visited your profile" thing going on, and you know, you maybe
why does Darren always go underground?
Well, you see, this is it. I put on a disguise, fake glasses, and a fake moustache, and set up a separate account, as you do, just to have a look, so you can look around with impunity. You know, no one knows who you are. So that's been quite useful until I found out there was an anonymous setting. You didn't have to go to all that trouble, but it wouldn't have been quite so bad if it wasn't for the fact that guy, my alter ego, is now more popular than I am. So
that'll teach you.
Yeah, that's it. Lesson learned.
That's brilliant.
So, Darren, what was the reason for going around LinkedIn with impunity? There's a new word for my vocab today.
Absolutely, yeah. I can't remember, to be honest. Now, it's like you say, things have changed, haven't they? Really. So, I'm a premium member of LinkedIn, and I'm always having to look at the who's looked in my profile thing, and whenever it's just a blank, you know, anonymous picture, it's kind of like, oh, who are you? Why are you looking at me? And let's do business, you know. So it's kind of a bit different attitude now. But
so Darren, let's just pick up on that premium member on LinkedIn, because so many people ask about it. Is it worth it? What do you use it for? So has it been useful for you? Have you used it?
Yeah, I mean, I've dipped in and out of it, but I do see a lot more people around that are premium members now. So I know there are lots of benefits of different types for different businesses. For me, I primarily use it for that, who's looking at your profile, and that's because it kind of ties in with some other tools that you can use to analyze data and kind of use it as a bit of a marketing tool, or not a direct marketing tool, because I hate it when people kind of try and spam you on LinkedIn, but just a kind of research tool, if you like, to find out the right sorts of people to be talking to, the right sort of businesses that you want to attract. So it's really useful for that. With those are the plugins and things that you can use to dive into some detail. So yeah.
Good. Yeah, that's good to know. Okay. So what would you love to do with LinkedIn? What would you do differently with it?
Well, for me, I wouldn't set up a second profile, because I was
yeah. I mean, surely, God, one's enough.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and all he does now is post photos of his dog and his kids, and his dining room table.
Table.
Of course, dining room table.
Kate, what would you do differently?
I did wonder why Banana Man kept going on my profile. I would definitely be more choosy about who I connect with. And to begin with, when I first set up my account, I connected with everybody who came onto my account. And now I've got hundreds and hundreds of connections, and most of them really great, you know, exactly my crowd that, you know, who I want to be in a network with. And then there's the odd few that I have no idea who they are. And I really should go through and have a clean up, but, you know, I don't.
You need a cull.
Yeah, and those are the ones I find that don't have the etiquette nailed. You know, they're the ones that do the horrible cold selling And I don't need that in my life. I've got enough, positivity in my world. I don't need somebody just trying to sell things that I don't need. I had somebody trying to connect with me after the dog post. He was a cat specialist.
Come on.
Obviously, it's not that good if you can't tell the difference between a cat and a dog.
He's got a small dog, but even so. I think be choosy with your connections, really, because it's quality, not quantity.
Yeah, see, I'm not like that at all. I take everyone. I accept, because then I think if they do, because the one thing I would probably change is I would make it that you couldn't message someone within the first week of being connected to them, just to stop those people that go, we're connected, please, here's what I do, send me some money. And it's clearly a cut and pasted message, but I accept everybody, because then I think, okay, if you're going to start spamming me, I'm just going to chuck you off the network. I'm going to disconnect from you. And there's plenty of people. I had a big cull a couple of years ago, because when I first joined LinkedIn, I just saw it as an extension of Facebook. So everyone who I was a Facebook friend with, I then became a LinkedIn connection with. And it was like, well, no, that's not the way. So like my sister's on LinkedIn, but there's no crossover. None of her network would be interested in what I do. She has a very, very select
how do you know
network.
that?
Well, because they're all kind of children, and she's a kind of a nursery teaching assistant. So it's unlikely that anyone in her network is going to be of interest. And it's a very small network as well. So, but it was stuff like that of like, I don't know why I'm connected to all these the Facebook people, but using that same logic, maybe I do need to go back and go, okay, your bio is I can help you improve your LinkedIn sales tenfold. Maybe I shouldn't be connected to you anymore, because I don't think you're interested in me. You're just interested in being connected to anyone.
Yeah, I'm pleased that you've said about connecting with anyone, because you're providing some good contrast for this podcast subject, because I am very similar to Kay in that, for me, I want to be focusing on known connections, or connections who are connected to people, 1-2 steps away, because there's too many of those big profiles that you've just mentioned, the people who just are looking to sell immediately. And Pete, you should definitely put your suggestion into LinkedIn that you can't send a message within a week, or at least within 5 minutes. Give us a bit of a break.
Yeah. I can only think that must be some kind of form of automation that they've got set up, some kind of LinkedIn helper that they have that just automatic, which infuriates me even more. So I'm not even worth you kind of seeing that I've connected, coming in, introducing yourself. Just get over yourself, mate. I'll come to you if I need your service.
I think there must be quite a few LinkedIn gurus, experts doing training that are sharing this is how to do it, and it's just it's a nasty way of selling. It reminds me of the double glazing sales people and car sales people from 20-30 years ago. Just get in there, sell, get out. It feels like, and it is yak.
Because one of the things I get, so my name is Pete Morgan Podcast and Training, and because of that, I get a load of people saying, "I see that you're a coach, so I was wondering if you'd like to." Well, and I've stopped replying now with, "Well, I'm not a coach. I do there's an education side to my business, but yeah, I'm not. I don't bill myself as a coach. I don't see myself as a coach. Where on earth have you got this idea that I'm a coach? Maybe it's the driver's cap I've got in my in my profile.
That's in your profile.
That's what they're thinking.
I love the fact that you were engaging with them at the start.
Oh, yeah.
I've also tried that approach, and then you're just like, why am I going down this rabbit hole?
I always engage with, if I get emails from princes in Nigeria, if I get Facebook messages from people telling me about this great new way that the government are handing out money, I always reply and go, tell me more, just to see how long I can string them on.
Yeah.
That's the thing I love to do about it. But on LinkedIn initially, no, it was a genuine kind of, willingness and being eager to help. It was almost like some kind of, foal that couldn't quite stand up.
You were fresh. You were
fresh.
Business one. You was like, let's connect. Okay, so in one sentence, guys, share what you have learned about yourself or your business through LinkedIn. Darren, what have you learned?
Something did pop into my head and then popped straight out again. But I think
that's your age.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, LinkedIn, it teaches you a lot, I think, about other businesses and a bit like what you've just been saying, really, in terms of how people think that networking works, whether it's a networking group or whether it's LinkedIn. There's an etiquette and there's a way of approaching things and approaching people. But making it more than a sentence and tying it back into what you were just talking about, I think you do get a bit of a sixth sense sometimes when people do connect as to whether or not they're just going to be selling to you or whatever. And so I'm very choosy as well.
Yeah. This is now Pete speaking with business owners of 10, 15 years plus. We're choosing. We're a bit too long in the tooth for small talk. And are you really the Prince of Nigeria?
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Well, check them on LinkedIn first, see if they've got a profile.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, the thing is, we all know there is some prince in Nigeria who's like, why will nobody take this money? I've got all of this money to give away and no one will respond to my email. What's going on?
So, Kate, what have you learned?
I've learned it's just a brilliant place to do business and get really great quality connections and keep in touch with people. Once you've had an inquiry or met somebody at an event or anything like that, it's a great way to keep that relationship going and just to keep, present, really, just keep in front of people. And I suppose the other thing that I've learned is, it's really important to have a really nice range of content that's going to be of value to people. Don't go diving straight in there with like this guy recently who messaged me on there, he connected with me, messaged me straight away. How busy are you? Do you have capacity, to take on more work right now? And I was like, I know what you're getting at here. You learned this in sales school, didn't you? No, you want me to
stay week one.
I've got loads of capacity, and if only I could get some more clients. Anyway, I thought I'm going to spin this round. So I replied, I went, do you know what? I'm quite busy actually, but I could fit you in. What do you have in mind? And then that must have thrown him a little bit because his reply was a bit, well, what I'm trying to sell you is, what would you say if I could guarantee you 20 hot leads, straight away? But, oh dear, I don't want to be that person. So I'm not going to be that person. So just put out really great quality content that's going to be of value to people and a nice range as well, authentic stories and little bits of sharing bits of your expertise. And I find that a good range of that pulls in great new contacts and, people interested in connecting with you. So it just continues to grow your network even more.
Yeah, agreed, Kate. This is where I love the Chamber of Commerce's mission, of connect, supporting and growing.
Yeah.
Pandemic, they've shared some really useful posts, great advice, events that are going on. And that's what LinkedIn is about, sharing useful content, like you say, connecting with genuine, authentic people who are not looking for what's in it for them, but it's about supporting one another. How can you help each other grow one another's business? So yeah, I mean, I connected with somebody recently. Somebody shared a post that they'd shared and thought it would be something that would be of interest to me. I connected with a genuinely, I loved a title on LinkedIn, and we're connecting over Zoom next week for a quick 20-minute coffee. And that's what it's about, just supporting. And it doesn't have to be this big deal or, big sales pitch in the first 5 minutes. Just, what would you do if you met them at a networking event? How would you respond? It's the same, just because it's on a social platform. Pete?
I think the biggest thing I've learned is that you'll get better engagement if you're in the post. I've found if I just use a graphic in the post, I get some engagement, but if it's like a picture of me or a video of me explaining, kind of talking more about what the post, I get more engagement that way. That's been the biggest thing. And the other thing, kind of going back to one of our earlier episodes when we were talking about competitors, it's taught me not to be afraid of, and again, I think competitors is probably too harsh a word, people who are in the same industry as me, because we're all, we've all been going through the same process over the past 12 months or, and in fact, it's been nice to kind of pass on some advice to people who have started up in this industry in the past 12 months because of the pandemic, that I've been able to go, okay, this is the way you need to approach it, and this is how you need to use LinkedIn. So for me, it is just learning that it reinforces that people buy from people thing.
Yeah. So Pete, with that in mind, what advice would you give to the business owner or the professional who is scared of putting their self in the post? Because that's something I hear a lot. Oh, I don't want to share about me. So how did you get over that?
Well, I think obviously it's part of me, and it's not very easy. I still don't find it particularly comfortable.
Yeah.
So I'm always quite careful what it is I'm sharing. I always think, am I sharing anything that I wouldn't mind telling a business connection if we were face to face, if we met up for a coffee, and if I'm comfortable saying it out loud to them over a coffee, then I'm okay putting it in a post for others to read. And that's kind of my line. My only problem is I'm an oversharer when I meet people for coffee. So I need to kind of check that so I don't kind of do posts maybe to the level that I do with a coffee. But, it's like, they're not that interested in kind of the size of your underpants. It's just keep that for coffees. There's no need to kind of put that on LinkedIn. Yeah. So that's my thing.
Just making a note there. Don't share underpants size on LinkedIn.
No,
exactly.
Never. Nobody's interested in that ever.
Twitter, fine. By all means, hashtag underpants size. It works.
Got it.
But on LinkedIn, big no-no.
Pete, that's a really good line to use. Would I be comfortable in sharing this in person? You're not an oversharer. So that is a really useful way of testing. Is this okay for me to share on a social platform?
Yeah.
This kind of comes back to what you said, Claire, that LinkedIn is a network, and if you go to a networking meeting, the things you say there, the things you do there, the professionalism and the approach you have is exactly the same. It just happens to be on a computer.
Absolutely. And well, we all need to get back out networking in person as well, don't we? Because that testing line might get very blurry the more that we're just sat on our computer talking to the ether. So what's the biggest challenge you have right now with LinkedIn, Kate?
Oh gosh. I think it's being active enough on there. So not just putting content out there, but actively liking and sharing other people's content as well.
Yeah.
And I do that in little flurries and fits and spurts, but I think it's just finding time every week to make sure I'm engaging with other people as much as they are with me. And I think that if you can do that regularly, then that will only increase your, increase your visibility, and people appreciate a like and a share, don't they, and a comment.
Absolutely. And we must remember that LinkedIn algorithms, they help our posts, the people who are posting and sharing, liking and commenting on others, they will help your posts be seen by more people. So, it's that whole social back and forth. So yeah, it is important. Darren, what's your biggest challenge on LinkedIn?
Mine's probably the opposite of Kate's, because I do go on there and find it easy to just click the like buttons, and obviously, as I've mentioned, using LinkedIn as kind of a research and connecting type of tool. Where I struggle more is the content side of it, putting out, engaging posts. A lot of my posts are kind of, a little more sporadic perhaps, but Kate does a really good job of putting out interesting posts and interesting content. And that's where I struggle. It's just kind of coming up with the strategy or the.
Darren, got any pets?
I was just what does Banana Man do? See what?
Oh yeah, he's very.
Your other profile is doing so much better. Your little alter ego.
He's got a lot better looking photograph than me. That's it.
Yeah, strategy behind it. Otherwise, you just spend hours and hours just not achieving a great deal on these platforms. Pete, what's your biggest challenge?
Yeah, I think it's probably consistency. So it is just, and again, some people hear consistency and think that means daily, and I don't think it needs to. So I just make sure 2 or 3 times a week to post. One of the challenges I've got at the moment is I've got an event coming up. So in my mind, every post I'm doing at the moment is about that event. And it's actually trying to shift away from that of, right, every post shouldn't be a pitch.
Yeah.
You can, like Kate does really well, post about other things that are going on, and sometimes not even in your industry related. So I think consistency is probably the big one.
Brilliant. Okay, so for me, I feel there's times when I can get bogged down with the random connections. So I just kind of had a little bit of a float around LinkedIn before this recording, and I wanted to share with you one of the headlines, the job titles of someone who connected with me. And this is where I can kind of go into it, behind my laptop, I'm going into my own little personal rage. I've got off my timeline, go away. But this is his job title. Are you ready? I need to take a big deep breath. Helping individuals, companies and professionals around the world run more successful sales campaigns, achieve more new business and exceed their sales targets every month through sharing the principles of sales philosophy. That was this person's job title when he connected with me. And I just thought, no, it's too much. But I did a little test. I was like, I'll connect with him, knowing full well he would break our rules of connecting straight away. And of course, that's exactly what he did. And it's just so, it's like this horrible LinkedIn format that if you've got one of these really long job titles that goes into specifically who you work with, what you do, you're just going to get sold to straight away. Yeah. So I think you can see, guys, can't you, that I'm getting bogged down.
Yeah, it's fun because my bugbear, and I don't know what you guys think about this, is people that like their own posts. I know it affects the algorithm in LinkedIn, which it doesn't in Facebook, but I've just never understood it. I've never been that kind of person of like, oh yeah, that's a great post, like my own post. So I don't know.
It's funny because you know, some of my posts are scheduled and some posts will take me by surprise. And I'm like, oh yeah, that is a great post. And I do actually want to like it, but I would never like my own posts. Who does that?
A little round of applause emoji as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, give me celebrate. Oh yeah, well.
Pat on the back.
Just to give you the solution to that problem, if you like one of your own posts, go and set up another account with a fake ID and like your own post. That's the way to do it.
And I could just see you commenting, I think this is great, Claire. This is such an insightful
So
post.
inspiring. Oh dear. So what are the silver linings when it comes to LinkedIn? Darren, what are your silver linings?
Well, I think LinkedIn's, brilliant, really. And I think actually, to be honest, it's still got loads more potential as a business tool. So, it's exciting to see what might happen in the future, as long as they, lean towards the business development side and not just get bogged down with all the job recruitment stuff and it turns into a job site. But for me, I use LinkedIn as a bit of a CRM. And one of the thing that fell out of my head earlier that I have remembered is that I use it as well to keep in touch with people that I meet at networking events or people who contact me via my website, whatever, for new business. I always make a point of adding them on LinkedIn if I can find them. And, that's a really good way then of trying to be able to keep in touch with them and, go back to them and things. So it's using it as a bit of a CRM tool is a bit of a silver lining as well in that sense. It's quite an easy way to do it.
Yeah, love that. It's a good little process to have in your business. As soon as you go to a networking event or as soon as you've had an inquiry, then connect with them on LinkedIn as well.
And that I think helps to keep the contacts and the connections that you've got relevant, because they're real people that you've met and they've met you.
Yeah, and it's carrying on that genuine connection, isn't it? Let's connect over here as well.
Yeah, another touch point, as they say.
Yeah. Pete, what's your silver lining?
I think my silver lining when it comes to LinkedIn was actually because I used to be properly obsessed with LinkedIn, and I would spend probably far too long on it, kind of going up and down the feed and adding stuff in and posting again. I'd be posting maybe 2-3 times a day. And it was, again, going back to a previous episode. In fact, I think it was when we were talking about taking time off in the run up to Christmas. And Darren talked about turning off notifications. So I no longer get notifications for LinkedIn. And it is sweet, sweet relief.
Yes,
I'm not,
wise move.
I'm not tied to this app anymore, which means I'm still enjoying it and I love using it and I love kind of going on and getting into conversations with other people, and I do try and comment on different things. But it doesn't rule me. And those people that do that thing, almost like a badge of honor of, yeah, that's right, it's 11 o'clock at night and I'm still on LinkedIn doing a thing. I am not, my friend. I am snoozing soundly, not being bothered by the little ping of a notification on my phone.
Totally.
Yeah, huge advocate of switching off the social notifications. Just, set yourself a timer when you go on there 2 or 3 times a week. Kate, what are your silver linings?
I don't switch off my notifications on LinkedIn because I get a little buzz from everyone.
Literally.
It's not my fix. I'll switch off all the others, but no, LinkedIn is by far my favourite platform from a business point of view. And I love how it's changed as well over the last 12 months in particular. And I suppose I just hope that continues moving forward, that we can use it as a platform to really support each other and applaud what we've managed to achieve in a really difficult time. And all this, salesy, recruitmenty stuff, just take a bit of a back seat and we use it for, the power of good. So that's what I hope that will, that's how I hope it will continue to develop.
Yeah, here, Kate. For me, you know, there are genuine connections and professional businesses on there looking to grow their business, which is what LinkedIn is about. And fortunately, they do outweigh, you know, the hard hitters, the quick win people. So, you know, there is some good business happening, and it's just about trusting your instinct, isn't it? As you would when you go to a networking event. You know, you wouldn't connect or have a one-to-one with a person who thrusts a business card in your hand as soon as you walk through the door. You know, you treat the platform as you would face-to-face. So LinkedIn is a great place to do business.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks for your input, engagement, and great comments today. And for our listeners, please share, subscribe, and review so other fellow business owners can enjoy, be inspired, and always keep focused on the fun side of business too.